Went for a walk through Yellowstone.
Well, at least you can do that. I mean, remember back in the day, we just had to stare at the wall, you know?
Yeah. Or at Gold's was always good. Remember, it was up top up there.
Yeah.
So in the first room, you could just watch all the idiots down on the floor. So
it was very entertaining. In fact, that while they had above the two bathrooms on the right when you walked in, there was the first cardio deck, and then all the way in the back of the room, by the magic mirror to across from the magic mirror, there was another deck.
John was just saying she's going to bring you another drink. I said probably not. She doesn't trust me, but look, she brought me one in this time with a handle on it. So two hands.
Like a big boy.
Do you want to get me a sippy cup like Joe Biden?
Yeah, it should have a cover on it with a sippy.
Love you.
A straw.
Real men don't use straws.
Speaking of Joe Biden, where's he been hiding? The last interview I saw of Joe Biden, he walked off and wouldn't take any questions again.
Well, he's done quite a bit of damage here recently. He's probably tired from all the work. That tape you just sent me of Officer Tatum was very. Remember you brought up how when the Nazis, when the Jews said, "How did you let the Nazis?" There was only 600,000 of them, and there was 3 million of you. And you said you went through that whole thing. First, it was just this, and then just the star, and then just
little things that you can go, okay, it sucks, but we can live with that, even though it's annoying. We can sort of get by, and this and that. Then all those little things just keep building up into bigger things, and
so now here we are among promises of no federal masks, no federal mandates, no vaccine mandates. Now, where are we? We are federal employees. And
that video I sent you from Officer Tatum, how many times from different things did Fauci, Psaki, all of them say, no, we're not going to mandate. That's not going to be a federal thing. We're not going to get involved in that. We will not be mandating. From how many times did they say it?
It was 2 minutes. The montage was 2 minutes long, and nobody repeated themselves.
No, because normally in those montages, they normally do a couple, then they repeat them, and then they mix them in. But that was a new one from every time, every press little conference, every time Biden spoke, Fauci spoke. There's a couple of other people in there too, and they're like, no, it's not a federal thing. It's not something we'll be policing or mandating. It won't be happening. And this, well, now look today, or look now.
But how did we get here? Little by little by little by little. Now what's next? Vaccine mandate to travel. Now you need, in New York City, you can't go into a restaurant or a movie theater or a nightclub or a bar without a vaccine passport or a valid.
Well, that's just New York there. That's New York there. That's Australia here. That's the whole of New South Wales.
Well, I think it's LA too. I'm going to LA next week to film a documentary, and I'm getting kind of worried that I won't be able to either get there or get back.
I'll send you a copy of mine. Just flash mine when you.
Here, I'm Lee. Just in case you need to know.
Well, I spoke to a few people here who are checking them. I said, does it get tiresome checking them or you get abused? And everyone I spoke to goes, I don't even really look if they do that. I just see the green tick thing. They're like, they don't check names, because it's not like if I flashed your mind like this and it says Lee McCutcheon and the green tick and that, they don't then say to me, can you show me your ID so I know it's you? So
they don't double check.
No, so it's just like, people are sick of it already, because like I said, last Saturday, Sunday, the unvaxxed, and if you had one shot, could go places. They could go get a coffee, and that come Monday, Freedom Day, they called it, the unvaxxed and the one shot people couldn't do anything. Only the double vax people can go out. So I went to the shopping centre, but inside the shopping centre, like a big Westfield or just like a big shopping centre where you have like Coles or Woolies, there are grocery stores. Mm-hmm. And then you have like all the specialty shops, like Sharper Image or clothing shops. So everyone goes into the main shopping centre part, but yet, because they're going to the grocery store. So here we have the vax and the unvax all mingling in the main centre. But then if they want to go into a specialty shop, you have to be double vaxxed to go into the specialty shop. But we've already been mixing out here, so what difference does it make?
It's like the airport. You know, you got to in the terminal. You got to be 6 feet apart with the mask on. You know, don't get any closer than 6 feet. And they get the little stickers on the floor. You know, so you know where to stand. Right.
Yep.
Then when you get on the airplane, you're like this, and then you
got
know
in trouble for
mask on and off.
Asking the lady that. I got in trouble for asking the lady that last time I flew before the last lockdown, because she was so angry. She's walking along and telling people it's 1.5 meters apart. These are the guidelines. And I said to her, yeah, I understand that, but you just said this is a full flight because they wanted to make sure everyone didn't have too much carry-on luggage because all the bins would be full above.
Right.
So I said, it's a full flight. So I said the same thing. So when we get on the plane, how big's the aisle on a plane? It's not 1.5 meters. It's only like this. So then I said, once you get on the plane full flight, there's 3 seats to aisle and 3 seats. And everyone's like this, arms touching each other. It's like, so what's the 1.5 meters all lining up for? I don't get it.
You understand why this is like this. And it's the same with the, you know, if you're walking to the table, you have to have the mask on. And when you sit down, you can take the mask off or up when you're eating and down when you're chewing. And, you know, none of any of this is based on science. None of it. So it's fear, emotion, supposition, what somebody said. And it's got absolutely zero to do with science. Because if you followed the science, like they're all saying, we would have been free long ago, you know.
That's the thing I hate the most is that I don't like to argue, but look, if there's a rule there, like if someone brings out a rule like, or even just something like look both ways before you cross the road, or don't stick a knife into electric toaster when it's on, things like that can save your life, and actually you think, shit, I better not do that, or don't, point a loaded gun to your head. Basic stuff that you think, shit, this could be dangerous, or don't drive a car when you're fully intoxicated, stuff like that. But when they're making these things, like you said, where I walk into a cafe, when I order, I have the mask on, when I sit down, I can take it off, and usually put it, it's like, when they don't make sense and it's just stupid, I'm like, this is just crap. I don't want to follow these rules because you don't need these rules. They're making no difference whatsoever to saving anyone or helping anyone. So why are we playing this stupid fucking game that's not called for? We don't need this.
So I have a great story for you. So a friend of mine is in Vegas, and they're uptight in Vegas as they are where you are. Okay. So he's walking down, I forgot what casino he was in, what hotel he was in, one of the big new ones. This guy's got money. So it was not a crappy, cheap hotel. It was a nice, he said the aisle was at least 2 meters wide, if not 3. And he was walking down the hallway and he wanted to know where this particular restaurant was. So he sees a guy who seems to be dressed like he works there. And he asks him, excuse me, can you tell me where, blah, blah, blah. And he's with his wife, where this restaurant is. And he said, well, if you put your mask on, I'll tell you. So he goes, so far. He clips his mask on and puts, okay, can you tell me where blah, blah, blah restaurant is? And the guy says, well, if you got to cover your nose. Covers his nose. He goes, can you tell me where the restaurant is now? So he says, he tells him where the restaurant is. He says, takes it off. Thank you. He starts walking away. And then the guy said something. He couldn't make out what it said. My friend says, what did you say? Guy takes his walkie-talkie out, calls security, and says, we have a violent person here. We need security to escort him out of the building.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
It's almost like if you question anything, it's like you're an anti-vaxxer or you're trying to cause problems. But we had a thing, you might have seen it. It was on, could have been an Officer Tatum video, one of those I was watching where this young kid was on. I forget I don't know how much college he's over there, taking different classes. It sounded like he paid a lot of money. It was expensive. But the same sort of thing, like I think someone had in a work conference, but the same sort of thing with this was they were going to kick him out of the class and not give him a refund on paying because on the Zoom classes, he wouldn't wear his mask.
Yeah. I heard of that. That he was, I think it was in Virginia, wasn't it?
Somewhere, yeah. And he's like,
He was enrolled purely online. He was online. That he was enrolled, so he would never go to the university ever.
Just like this, just like us, like
this. They made him wear his mask on the Zoom on the call.
Yeah, I said if he didn't wear it, he'd be kicked out of the class and get no credit refund or anything from I'm like, how crazy is that? I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
like the.
you see what they're doing in the school board meetings now?
I saw, was that with the I saw something where they were having, is that with the Department of Justice, like the FBI was
The
going
FBI.
off the pair?
The
Yeah.
FBI can determine if you are violent, meaning if you raise your voice, because this is how they do it.
Or
If you
yeah.
raise your
Or
voice,
if you ask a logical question, if you ask
right,
a sensible question.
you are considered a domestic terrorist, and you get arrested. And they've already arrested people doing this for voicing their concerns about their children at a school board meeting. But there is a silver lining to this cloud. I just read an article that in Clark County, which I believe is in Nevada, the parents filed a $200 million lawsuit against the school board for the mask mandates for the children, and which they'll likely win because there's no federal, there's no law, there's nothing to substantiate this, absolutely zero. So they're claiming harm to their children. I think there's 60 parents in that lawsuit, and they're filing many more. This is going to be the first of.
And I wonder what that would do to someone. As I said, I saw a father get arrested, I think the other day, for asking questions, and he was just asking normal questions, and they had people come in and take him out, and that then I often wonder, because okay, you think the FBI comes in, and if you're labelled a domestic terrorist and that's on your record, what the hell would that do to you trying to get a job or even trying to hop on a plane to fly? In America, you probably couldn't even get on a plane if you're labeled a domestic terrorist.
If you're labeled a domestic terrorist or a pedophile, you got nothing coming. You know, and I think pedophiles make out a little easier or sex offenders, not pedophiles. Do you know here, if you get drunk in a bar somewhere and you stumble in home and in the middle of an alley, you take a leak against the dumpster. If a cop sees you, you get arrested for indecent exposure, and you have to register as a sex offender
for taking a leak. And imagine trying to explain that. I was just taking a leak. Oh, sure you were. Yeah, likely story.
On who? Yeah, they're going to ask. Like that's the next question out of their mouth. But so there's some insane shit that goes on here, man, and unfortunately, where you are too, it's no more sane. Apparently,
I don't know what's worse at the moment. We're sort of opening up, but still. Oh, the good news is there was some silver lining here too. November 1st. For international travel now for Australians who are doubly vaxxed, when they go overseas and come home, they got rid of hotel quarantine and no home quarantine.
Now there's progress.
Yeah, so it's been scrapped for now. No quarantining at all when I come back. I think if I go overseas, I got to have a test before I go, and coming home, you got to have 1 or 2 tests. I think that's it. So, but no, they got rid of the whole 14 days in a hotel. Then it was going to be 7 days at home with the facial recognition GPS shit, but now they got rid of that. But here's the thing too, we're just spending millions right now on this app that was meant to be ready now, where it's the New South Wales service app. That's like the government app and your Medicare app, so it could connect your passport and your Medicare together to the New South Wales app. Because the New South Wales app is when you do that, like scanning in when you go into a store, like trace, they call it tracing. And so when you do that, it'll show them your passport at the same time. So whoever's building this app for millions of dollars, I'm thinking it's a friend of someone in the fucking parliament. And they said it's not going to be ready. And they talked to the guy from the New South Wales service. He goes, come December 1st, when everything opens up for the vaxxed and the unvaxxed, will we need to scan in anymore and show the passports? He's like, no. So he's like, then why are we spending millions on it now? He goes, well, this COVID, maybe next year it could come back again for months on end and we'll have to use it then. I'm thinking, who the fuck's getting his hand out for this $1 million app thing that we're not going to use come December 1st?
That was like Michelle Obama's brother got the contract for the Obama Care website that never worked. $5 billion that he got because well, he never actually opened a website before. So
That
how
was
he gets
that
that
was
job is
reparation.
beyond me. It's like Hunter Biden's, Burisma board, position with no experience. But there's an interesting one now for speaking of Hunter Biden. Did you hear the newest batch of emails that got extracted from the hard drive from hell?
The last ones I heard was still about China and that and stuff like that. They were the last ones I heard about. There was like new Chinese ones came out.
Those did, and then the commingled bank accounts between Hunter and Joe shared a checking account for like 8 years, and they paid each other bills. Yeah. So Hunter is under criminal investigation for money laundering and tax evasion, and now he shared a checking account with his father, the then vice president, now president. And where did there shows money coming in from Burisma? Okay, so here you've got Ukraine. Not to mention that the money was coming in from Burisma, but it was the same prosecutor who was looking into Burisma that Biden had fired when he was there. So
whatever happened to that? Because what's that technical law term where if you do something like that, where he sat there on camera and openly admitted that he said, I'm withholding millions or billions, was it, unless this guy gets fired, I'm not going to do this. He pretty much made the guy get, I know there's a legal term for that when you do something like that. It's almost like, I don't know what
bribe, coercion.
Could it be coercion? I know it's I think it's more of a sounds technical, but it probably just means the same thing. But yeah, because he sat there gloating about how he had this guy fired and shit because he was going to withhold money and stuff. Yep. And I'm thinking,
I'm leaving here in 6 hours. I'm on the plane. He said, if he's not done, and I'm leaving, and you're not getting the money. And then he says, well, son of a bitch, the guy got fired while I was still there.
I did like seeing all those bloody cargo ships sitting off the coast right now.
Yep. Well, DeSantis in Florida said, port's open, bring them over here. We'll take them. We're ready. We're open for business. Florida's.
And then I saw the guy. Who's the guy who's in the guy who's in charge of that? But he's taken that maternity leave with his partner to have children. It's like, I don't know why you call it maternity leave when they're both gay men. I guess they adopted the kids, or I don't know if somebody had the kids for them. But I saw a cute picture of the both guys holding the baby and on a swing together, and they're taking maternity leave. I'm thinking, I don't really think you need maternity leave. I don't think you need a couple of months off to let your womb heal or fucking whatever you're doing, or, to recoup from the stress your body went through giving birth.
Breastfeed the child with colostrum.
Yeah. It's like, especially when there's an emergency like this happening and is it like the transport person or whoever it is, but he's in charge of it. You figure he should get his ass back to work, fix this up, and then go back to whatever he's doing, playing family or whatever. But I'm thinking maternity leave for a guy. No, he'll probably fucking say he's got period cramps next week and want another week off. So,
and we have men applying for jobs at Hooters. You have that going on. I was actually at a Hooters where there was a gentleman working as a server.
They wear the little orange shorts as well. Do they wear the orange shorts and the tank tops? Tight orange shorts or baggy shorts?
Tightly, the same thing that girls wear.
So you can see their junk in that while you're eating.
And the stockings, they got to wear the white pantyhose.
Oh Jesus!
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know. I watched.
I just had to turn my fan on.
What did I watch the other day? Because I was just saying it to my wife the other day. A lot of the new Netflix things that are coming out, a couple of new movies. This whole pushing the gay agenda. Look, I don't care. It's like if it came up, even I think it started. We're talking about with the new Superman comic where his son, Superboy, whatever, Superman's son's going to be bisexual, and I'm like, don't you get? I've said it before. Kids just want to be kids. Even as an adult, I want to watch a movie. Majority of superhero movies, anyway, there's really no distinguish what sex they are because they're not really having sex. They're off fighting fucking crime and saving the world and shit.
Exactly.
But I'm thinking, I don't even really watch a movie I want to turn off the political brain, the fucking what's going on in the world. I just want to be entertained and have action and this and that. because I was talking about that Cinderella. My friend, he has a little 3-year-old daughter, and he's like, "Oh, she loves that latest one." I said, "It wasn't a bad movie as far as musical goes, but that's where they had the fairy godmother was the black guy."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I said, "What does she think of that?" He goes, "She doesn't notice." I'm like, "Exactly, because young kids aren't thinking that sexual
Right.
connotation and shit." And I said, a perfect example of that was when I used to be younger, and with my dad being engaged, been with his partner for 40 years. But as I was growing up with them, I'd stay there a lot on the weekends, during the week on holidays. I never thought my dad's gay, having sex with this guy in the bedroom. To me, that's my dad's mate just staying over here, because, when I was going to school, I'd have sleepovers. My buddies would come over, we'd have movie night. So to me, that's what it was. At that age, it wasn't until my mum told me at 12 or 13 that he was gay. Then I put 2 and 2 together. But as a young kid,
right,
you're not going down that sexual line of wanting to know this and know that. And I said, you're trying to put, like I said, you're trying to put our adult brain into a kid that's 3 or 4 that just wants to watch a fucking cartoon.
Right.
You're not thinking sexual shit.
I mean, if you watch the original Batmans, the black and whites, the ones from back in the 60s, Batman's gay. Okay, he's gay, but it's okay. But
he almost used to kiss Catwoman sometimes.
Look at the things he danced in the Watusi, and he was this cooking, and Bruce Wayne, and but who? I mean, as
turtleneck sweater. Remember, he used to wear the turtleneck sweater.
but as a kid, that never registers your mind. That doesn't enter your mind ever at all. So, but now you look at it, hey, Batman might be a little soft, but still didn't matter, he was like boom, boff, biff, he was like, hitting people and shit. That was all good.
Always walking up the side of the building and someone famous would stick their head out the window. That's the thing, even if you're young, even if I probably had saw my dad kissing his partner back then, or even on TV, you're still not registering sexual stuff. I think even when I was a young boy, and I'd see men and women kissing on TV, I wasn't thinking sexual anything. I was like, it's just whatever. But now they've got to make a habit of.
And honestly, you really never saw it that much. It wasn't.
No.
I mean, there were movies, stories, whatever, that had romantic interests, and of course they were all heterosexual and same race. Okay. There was a whole set of FCC standards and practices that every show had to pass in order to be allowed on TV. And that's why in America we never had nudity like they have in Europe. And we couldn't curse like they could in Europe. And then, they had, if you watch the Brady Bunch, they were, or I Love Lucy, they slept in separate beds. So there were all these, antiquated standards that the FCC made the shows adhere to in order to have a uniformity of content that was, G-rated on TV.
How it's changed now. Now to get nominated for Academy Award, you got to have some sort of bi, gay, trans. You got to have all these things in it now, or you don't get nominated for Academy Award.
Yep. Now, did you see Dave Chappelle's
yes,
show?
I did. Because I saw it there, I thought, I won't watch, but then I saw the hoopla about it, the trans people trying to get it cancelled and this and that. Did you watch it, did you?
I did. Val and I watched it in the whole thing, not just...
I watched it, and I think that's apart from being funny, like he's very smart, and the thing is, though, these trans people get so angry and want to cancel everything. I bet the message that he was trying to convey about his trans friend at the end that ended up committing suicide and how this all led into that and this and that would have just gone over their head. But...
Right. Right. So that whole lead up to that was really important because, it painted a picture of who he was leading into that situation. He was able to leave all that aside because he respected him as a comedian who was a really good comedian, although the first show sucked. But later on, I mean, he realized that she was the spirit was there, and she was one of them.
That was just so funny when he's saying it to her. He keeps saying, "I let her open for me." And God, she was fucking shit.
Terrible. But when they were partying later, she was awesome.
Or even when she started replying to people in the crowd, he's like, "Where'd this shit come from? You didn't do it when you're on stage."
Yeah.
But even like he tells a story too, how because then she started defending him the trans community started attacking her, which pretty much led her to, you know, commit suicide and stuff. And it's like you're saying too, he doesn't punch up, he doesn't punch down. He's just, you know, it's just, and she even got it, because I just actually clicked on something before I come on here when I was waiting, and it said about how her family's defending him, and they said how much she loved Dave, and, you know, even though she was trans and the jokes could go too far, she understood the difference between comedy and real life and this sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He set up a foundation for that kid. He said, I hope I'm still here when she's 21. I'm going to give her the money.
I like how he says, he goes, I'm going to have to hate that talk, and I'm going to say, you know, I knew your mother. He was a wonderful man. Remember, it's a sad story, but at least he sort of made light.
He made light of it.
In there, yeah,
well, and even though he was, you could see he was touched, moved by it, you know. It was a heavy thing for him, you know. And heavier still is the reaction from, you know, mainstream bullshit Hollywood over here.
Yeah.
So
I just don't get it. It's like the trans people too. It's like, to me, it's almost like, yes, if you're abusing someone and you're going out of your way to hate, same as racism and that, whatever, it's terrible. So the ones that do attack gay people or gay bash and that, you know, they should go straight to jail. But telling jokes, you have to distinguish between jokes, because every race, religion, gay, straight, whatever you are, has been made jokes of, and that's what they are, jokes. Let it go. These people that come out so angry and want to cancel people and get them cancelled and destroy their livelihoods and do everything, whether it be this or anything else, to me, that's just like, you're doing more harm. It's like these, if you want to be vegan, that's fine, but you get, you know, to get these vegans, animal activists that go out and throw fake blood everywhere and do all this sort of shit. I said, you're really turning people off you more. You're not doing your cause any good. You're actually making people hate you, sort of thing. So, so when you get these small minorities of these far left trans people and this and that, they just want to cancel everyone and hate everything and this. And I was like, what makes you to fucking Lord or God over everyone else, and everything has to be your way, and no one can do this, no one can do that. We have to live in your world. I'm just like, it's just crazy. Because like I said, I've got friends that are vegans. They never talk about it. They just do their thing. They're not, oh, Lee, you eat meat, you're killing animals. They just don't care. But then you get those ones that would, oh, you're killing animals, you're murdering animals, you're this, you're that. It's like killing people. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, you make anyone, you make a vegan go eat meat because they're disgusted to be a part of your...
or drive you to drink. Now, if you remember back to the 70s when things were sane and we had shows like All in the Family, you know, Archie Bunker, the Jeffersons, what's the Kid Dynamite? What were the
He'd always walk in, Dynamite.
Yeah, with the father there was really mean, and Florida was because Florida was the mom was Jefferson's maid. Remember? So she was a spin-off show. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, those shows, I mean, you know, George Jefferson would walk around calling white people honkies, and, you know, Sanford and Son was another one, you know. That had a lot of,
I love Sanford and Son.
that was the best one. He was having the heart attack. It's the big one. It's coming, Elizabeth. And
his son would go and say, Dad, I'm just going out with this girl. That's all right. Leave your father at home. Don't worry about me. If anything happens, and then he'd start faking the heart attack. He's like, Dad, come on.
I'm coming, Elizabeth. But all of those shows made fun of each other. Black people, white people, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, because it was based on stereotypes. I'm Italian. If you think of Italian, you think of pizza, spaghetti, romance, talk loud, use your hands, okay? Or you're Australian. What do you think? You throw a shrimp on the Barbie, kangaroos, you know what? So that's not meant to be mean to anybody. Those are stereotypes that are funny because they're true.
We all laughed. And we all laughed back then. No one was offended. No one thought they're making fun of blacks, whites, people, like you said, Italians or this or that. We all laughed at it. Like, you look back at even like just the way it is now of the women's brigade, everything else. Something as simple as Married with Children would probably never get on TV now, the way Al Bundy was to his wife. Peg, one more time, Peg, 5 across the eyes, and all this sort of stuff. It's like, could you imagine that? Oh, that's condoning violence. It's not condoning violence or beating up women. It's just comedy. It's like, look at some of, you go back to what, Monty Python movies or
Jackie Gleason. Remember the Honeymooners? Jackie Gleason. He would say, to the moon, Alice, bang, zoom. You know, I mean,
he'd be like, he'd be but even like, you look at Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1.
Oh, that was just.
He's a Jewish man. He made fun of, like, starts off with the apes masturbating, but he went through the Roman days, the German days. He was making fun of the Jews and the Germans, and people laughed at it. It's like The Life of Brian. It was about, you know, the Jews and God, and I know religious people got upset about it, but it's like, it's just making fun of whatever, you know. When Jesus up there, what did he say? He said, "Blessed are the cheesemakers." He's like, the cheesemakers? Oh, he means any maker of dairy products, you know. It's just like just stupid shit like that, because it was funny. It's like, remember that guy was carrying the cross and he fell over. The guy goes, "Oh, let me give you a hand." So the guy picks up the cross. He goes, "Oh," and he ran off. So this guy got stuck with the cross. And when they were going to the crucifixion, the guard at the gate's like this. "So what are you here for?" "Crucifixion." "Oh, you've been a naughty boy. One cross each, door on the right." He goes, "What about you?" He goes, "No, I'm going free today, mate." He goes, "Oh, good on you. Door on the left." He goes, "Only pulling your leg. I'm getting crucified." "Oh, you almost got me. Get your cross. Door on the right." But it was just that stupid shit like that was funny. And, you know, like,
anytime you base something on a truth, it's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it was like, remember, is the coup de grace of all of them? That was a great movie, and I had black friends laugh at. Everyone used to laugh at it. Blazing Saddles with Gene Wilder, and that was like one of the classics. It made fun of pretty much everything in that movie. Black people, white people, Indians, women. It's like
everybody.
It's just like covered everyone, and everyone used to laugh at it. That was like a classic, Blazing Saddles.
Whenever I'm in a bad mood, there's a couple of things I like to think about that'll always get me out of the bad mood. Mm-hmm. One of those things that's 100% successful is I think of that campfire scene after they ate all the beans.
With Mongo.
Mongo.
The Mongo's sad. And he punches the horse, and it's like, remember even at the end of that movie, remember they were ripping on the gays too. Remember as the big fight scene just went on, and because it was in a Hollywood soundstage, they went into the other thing, and they're like, "Oh, he hit Hadley," and all the gay people there, they're all fighting, and it just kept going on. It's just, then they rode out of Fox Studios, didn't they? At the end of the thing,
out of the bed, right
in the car. In the limousine going up into the Hollywood Hills somewhere. So,
you know, that was that era of comedy. You know, people like to say it's old fashioned or whatever, but it was ahead of its time in the sense that it was creative in a way that would make you think. You know, but it was also transcending all of this nonsense that we're mired in now. I look at where we are now. We have de-evolved. We are really below where we were back in the 70s. We're back. We're in the 20s right now.
Well, one of the worst and funniest of foul mouth was Richard Pryor. But even when you get him together, what was it? Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Stir Crazy with Gene Wilder. Them two together, they were playing on so many stereotypes in those things. And that, remember, when they went to the jail and he's trying to teach Gene Wilder to walk all honky, and "That's it, man. That's it, blood. What's up, blood? Yeah, and how's it hanging?" And they're trying to walk black. "That's it, man. Walk black." And he's like, trying to teach him to walk and shit. It's like, and everyone laughed at it. If you went around and said now, "Hey, let me teach you to walk black," you can't say that. That's racist. What do you mean walk black? It's like, come on. It was Gene Wilder and those couple of movies they did together were the funniest ever. It's like.
It's like in the movie Stripes, remember, with Bill Murray and John Candy, when they were trying to learn that march thing, the marching thing, and they needed rhythm, and Bill Murray says, "Come on, black guys, help the white guys." You know, you can't get away with that shit now. But that's a joke. Back then, that was a joke. Black guys help the white guys because you got no rhythm. Black guys help the white guys. That was funny. Okay,
exactly. Now us white guys standing like this,
right? Because we can't move. But if that would never get in a movie today, never ever. Yeah. So
some of the funniest ones too used to be they'd touch on religion, stereotypes, and that was so a lot of those Leslie Nielsen movies, even the airplane movies and shit like that. They'll be just ripping on everyone on that. Was it Airplane 1 and 2 when they're on the plane? They ripped on everyone.
Oh, what was the actress's name? She was like this super straight white actress.
She's always you talk the one that played the stewardess.
Yeah, she said, "Don't worry, I speak jive," and she interpreted.
Yeah,
The black guy with the big afro.
Oh,
Remember?
that's right. Yeah, he said,
And
"What's
he
up, boy? You this and that." Yeah, because they're on the plane. Because they're like, "Gee, jive this and that," and then the woman's like, "He said this and that." It's like, and then she's like, "Right on, brother." And they gave like the handshake and that. Yeah, she knew the handshake. Yeah.
Oh man,
I got to see where that woman was going crazy on the plane. Remember, everyone lined up on the plane, and they're all slapping the woman and hitting her because she was going ape shit. And they're all like, there was a guy standing there with a baseball bat ready to get her. There was a guy with boxing gloves. It's like they're all lined up to lay into this lady because she was going hysterical on the plane.
You'd never ever get away. Now, what do we get now from Hollywood? You get the odd action movie. We do get those, but very rarely. But the majority,
now the action movie, the lead character will be somewhat gay. If it's a female action one, she's a lesbian or bisexual. Like oh, bloody hell.
They don't make any movies anymore for us. None.
Expendables 4 is being made.
Well, if that might be for us, but all the other ones, you go to the Academy Awards or whatever, and all the movies that are being nominated.
If Expendables 4 comes out and Statham's given Lundgren a hand job on the motorbike, I'm going to be put off by it comes out.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
I'm going to be very disappointed. Yeah, but it's just like this whole woke thing. I'm like, why are we playing into this? It's like, to me, if you're looking for that shit, I don't know. It's like, you got a miserable life. If that's what your life is, just be happy with who you are. Stop trying to change the world and get people to think the same way. Because like I said, most people I know don't care if someone's gay, straight, black, whatever. Right. It's just like, live your life. But when you start injecting your stupid shit and changing everything for everyone, that's when people are going to be like, you know what, you're a bit of a dickhead now. I don't really like your cause anymore or this or that because, you know, something as simple as Black Lives Matter. That could have been a great movement if they were, you know, worrying about all the young kids that get killed every weekend in Chicago, New York. A young kid on his bike gets shot in the head, or even like the schooling programs. If the black young kids aren't getting enough funding for schools or medical or that, if you really put your effort into real fucking causes that are troubling to the black people, whether it be the homelessness too, or, you know, maybe single parents and that with the mothers and the kids, where they can maybe get some funding for that sort of stuff, or housing for the abused ones or shit, like actual stuff that mattered, not all this other fucking bullshit defending criminals who get fucking killed by a fucking asshole cop and shit like that. It's like, come on.
The level of idiocy now has gotten to just a very dangerous point. They're talking about doing things now that are just so insanely ridiculous that, I mean, you really wonder about, I mean, you got to wonder why this is allowed to happen, why things that are moving in this direction so fast. Biden's only been in office for what, 8 months? I mean, look at the disaster this guy has caused in 8 months, and he's not done. He's got a whole list of more shit he wants.
Now you got the ships, you got this budget thing, you got the border thing still going on, but there's sort of been somehow it's been hushed lately, the border crisis.
Totally hushed up.
The Afghanistan thing somehow got swept under the rug pretty quick. I mean, there's so many major things going on over there. It's like, yes, we have our problems here with the whole COVID shit, but your problems there seem to be more major. I look at some of those store shelves that are empty and all the other stuff that's going on. I said, and I see a lot of, like I said, here, it's not as bad here yet, but it's getting here, like all the mandates. A lot of places here now are trying to push for that mandate. You got to get it unless you can't go to work and stuff. So, yeah, but I said there's so many things that none of those things happened when Trump was in. As much as these people hated Trump, none of that shit was happening. The only thing you heard from America was how much they hated fucking Trump and impeached Trump. That was the major problem. Let's impeach him. Russia, which was all bullshit, and all the other stuff was all bullshit. The phone call was bullshit. Whatever happened to that phone call with Biden? It was hushed up pretty quick, where he tells that guy, when the president of Afghanistan says, look, the terrorists are coming down, ISIS is coming, and blah, blah, blah. Or let's not talk that. Can you push that, not mention it? Now, if that had been Trump, impeachment, it would have been. That's what we heard from America, was just how people hated Trump. They hated Trump's tweets and some of the stuff he would say. Look at the stuff Biden says. Look what Biden's done to the economy, the fuel, everything. But yet they still think he's a wonderful president. Yep. Well, his side does anyway.
His poll numbers keep tanking. I think he's at 36 now.
And Kamala, where's she? She's just as bad. She's
MIA. Well, you got to see what's going. You got to wonder what's going on here, because he is declining by the day, and I think one of the best ways to track his
What was that
decline
last speech he gave? I tried to find the video of it. It was only like a week ago he gave a speech, and I mean, it was like so incoherent.
He was
like,
babbling all over the place. Yeah,
it's like slurring and this, and the words weren't even going together, and it was like almost a 2-3 minute speech, and he was just like, "Fuck me, dead. This is."
Like, he was trying to pronounce somebody's name, so he spelled it. I mean, it was just just insanity, and they covered up the funniest culmination of all of this that shows how bent American media is on protecting this guy. Is that NBC reporter was at the Talladega Speedway interviewing Brandon Brown, who had just won his first race. And the whole crowd is chanting, "Fuck Joe Biden, fuck Joe Biden," loud. It's like beating like a heart, fuck Joe. And the announcer says, "Hear that, Brandon? They're chanting for you. They're supporting. They're saying, 'Go Brandon!'"
No.
Let's go, Brandon.
When I watch Nick DiPaolo, he puts up a few videos each week of there'll be a baseball game somewhere or different sporting events, and that's the main chant.
They're all chanting,
"Fuck you, Biden." Yeah,
Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
I still like him. I sent you that video, didn't I? When he put up that picture of me in that NASA jacket, Nick DiPaolo goes, "There's my buddy Lee." Goes, "Them bloody Aussies."
Yep.
They've still got that convict blood in them. He goes, "What's that?" He's got a black eye there because it is. He goes, "Someone probably told him to wear a fucking mask." He goes, "Don't fuck with Lee." Then he's like, "If I know Lee, it's 5 a.m. He's got half coffee, half whiskey in that cup, and he's dressed as a fucking astronaut."
Well,
I did enjoy that thing the other day. You would have seen it where Joe Rogan got stuck into that doctor for the CNN doctor about
Gupta. Yeah, Sanjay Gupta. Yeah, he goes, "Why did you guys say that?" And he had Gupta admitted it. You shouldn't have done it. There was bad.
But at first, he's like, "What did they say? What did they?" I'm thinking, you know what they said. Come on, don't play cool. But
didn't know what they meant. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's there, and he's meant to be CNN's leading doctor when it comes to let's go to our doctor for his expert opinion and this and that. And it's like Joe said, there is some for horses, there is some for humans, and it's been proven. Mine's a script from the doctors. They're trying to make out like I'm taking some horse veterinary drug for intestinal
Nobel Prize in medicine in humans. In what was it, 2007, I think. So for them to get on to Rogan about taking Ivermectin as a therapeutic after he got, and the funny thing is he got better. While they're chastising him, 36 hours later, he's all better. So
do you ever wonder too why? I was even saying to my friend the other day, okay, you got the vaccines and that, which they're meant to stop you getting fully sick, but as we've seen, people that are pretty healthy don't get fully sick anyway. So I don't know what it's really meant to be doing, but because you can still catch it with the vaccine. But yet all these things like ivermectin or the D3, all these other vitamins, the zinc and that, it's like when people talk about this, like, oh, you can't, this is that. It's like, but wait a minute, these are like natural type things, the vitamin D and all the other stuff, the zinc, you can get vitamin C, the horseradish and garlic, anything like that, or the ivermectin, because you can get it over the counter. Why wouldn't you have, if it's been proven that it can help, why wouldn't you have your people take it? What harm is it doing taking it? It's not hurting by taking it. It's not like it's going to be, you can take too many Tylenol and get more side effects and fuck your liver and kidneys up from Tylenol. But these are just vitamins. If you use them as a preventive, it's like I haven't had a touch wood. I've never had a flu shot my whole life. I've never had a bad flu because I try to eat pretty good, but then I also take my vitamin C, garlic, horseradish, and all these other things. So when I have felt one coming on, I've had like a bit of a runny nose and that, and then a day or two later, it's gone. If I get a super sore throat coming on, I get that betadine throat gargle stuff you can get, and I use that, must cure the germs, because the day later, I haven't got a sore throat anymore. So if there are these sort of natural things that you can take that are cheap, why wouldn't you use them? Why would the government be against people doing that when it could be preventive? I said, if all these things cause harm, say, yes, don't do it. But when they don't, it'd be like saying, never take multivitamins, this and that, but it's like if taking a multivitamin makes you feel good, gives you some energy, taking some vitamin B12 or something picks you up a bit, why not?
Because look at it this way: 330 million people in America. 2 out of 3 of them are fat, sick, and dying. What would happen tomorrow morning if every one of them woke up healthy and fit?
Well, Big Pharma wouldn't like that.
Global financial Armageddon. That's
how much do you think the pharmaceutical would be worth, like billion wise?
Trillions are spent in the pharmaceutical industry worldwide. Trillions. So
is it just me, or do you think the same as me? Like when it comes to scientists, look at the greatest minds in the world we have here when it comes to disease and this and that. So you figure, when did they probably start looking at cancer research? 80 years ago, or what, 100? I don't know how far back.
Probably 70, 80 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 80 years. We had doctors back then doing cancer research, and they get money. And so all their findings they did, it goes somewhere. So now when the new lot of doctors come along, they look at their research papers. Now their brilliant minds take their research papers and do whatever they got with their minds and come up with something better. So this is coming all along over 80 years. Probably millions and billions of dollars have gone into cancer research. I mean, we've got some of the smartest minds in the world of people. In all those years and all that money and all this research and notes all over the world, because doctors would probably talk all over the world. They go to these big conventions of whatever, that here's the cancer cell. In all those years, these great minds haven't found something that can kill that one cell.
Right.
I got some shit I spray on the weeds out front. 2 days later, they're fucking dead.
and the grass is still alive.
Yeah, if some guy worked that out, why can't they work out? Because I'm sure they've been through different types of drugs, therapies, or even something basic. Could even be something like a normal vitamin type thing that if they put in, it stops the cancer cell, even like, multiplying and shit like that. I just can't believe we've got that many great minds in the world with that much money going into funding. They haven't found a way to just they wiped out polio and shit like that. So
with the vaccine.
So why can't they get rid of something as simple? I won't say cancer is simple, but with all the people that have been working on it for so long and the billions and billions of dollars that are going into it, it's like everything they come up with is just preventative, like the chemotherapy, which you talk to some chemotherapy doctors, they reckon that's like the shittiest thing you can ever do for cancer and stuff like that.
That's what killed Derek Anthony was the chemo. Yeah.
So it's like if you got all that money going into things like that, here we can put you on this and operations and these machines and this and that. He said it'll be in the trillions of dollars. So if they ever did cure cancer, we can't put that out there because, in the beginning, yes, they'll make a lot of money with the cancer cure, but then when everyone's cured, now what do we do?
Well, the same goes for the same goes for diabetes and heart disease and all of these maladies that claim the majority of the lives in America from before their time are all treatable and fixable, but there's no money in that. I mean, you look
everything just seems like a band-aid to just keep making millions and millions of dollars.
Keep them sick. Keep them sick. Keep them alive. Well, but I mean, the technology we do have is absolutely amazing. I mean, even on the level relevant to bodybuilders, like a SERM, you take Nolvadex. That's a selective estrogen receptor modulator. So what that does is that targets that one compound, goes into your body and targets that estrogen receptor. And leaves all the other ones alone. We can do that, but we can't send an invader in there to hit the cancer cell and leave the other ones alone. So
that's right. I just don't believe, because as I said, there's too many genius minds in the world. And then I'd be like, if the doctor did come out with the cure for cancer, he'll be in his lab there, call up the head office. I've just found it. You're not going to believe it. I've just done this, and they'll be like, thank you, Dr. Smith. That's great news. Next day, a young doctor from the cancer research was killed in a car crash.
Committed suicide last night.
It's like, sadly, I hate to think that way.
Wounds to the head.
I hate to think that way, but sadly, I think that's what it does. It's like those, when you look at, I know it's not related to like the cancer, but it's like, remember Aaron Brockovich when that come out, that movie, because these huge, not big pharma, but just a company. There's another movie out with Mark Ruffalo in it called Dark Waters. Have you seen that?
No.
Dark Water.
Mm-mm.
But it's about this similar thing. This town, there's something in the water. They find out DuPont is somehow putting stuff into the water. And this guy spent, like his marriage was pretty much ruined. They ruined his name. He ended up using his own money to fight this because all the kids in the town and people were getting cancers and dying. And it ended up being, he finally won it. But I mean, they were pretty much trying to kill him and everything, just trying to destroy this guy because he was going after this huge company where they were just making millions and billions of dollars. They didn't want to hear about their shit going into the water here and stuff like that. So,
well, if you look back even in our industry, the most effective, best compounds have been banned. Look at ephedrine, for example. I'm very familiar with it because I was working at Twin Lab when that whole thing was going on.
I remember when Max Muscle used to sell the ephedra tablets, those little ephedra tablets just in a bottle. You can buy them
in the gas station. You could buy them. Truckers use them. But that was the safest, most effective diet aid at the time going, bar none. People were on it. Billions of servings were taken a year, and very few adverse events were reported. It was the number one best-selling, most effective fat loss supplement ever. What did they do with it? Banned it because it was working. People were losing weight. That's not good. That's very bad.
And then I remember the government tried to bring out one. Did they bring it out there as well as here? There was one called Fen, remember?
Yeah, Fen. Yep.
And it started killing people. I had to take it off the market. People were having heart attacks.
Well, I think that was called Fastin. Bodybuilders were using that. You know, I forgot the chemical name of that. But most of the effective drugs that are used for legitimate purposes are. Look at how hard it is to get testosterone for an old man. I mean, it's impossible.
Trying to get that here is terrible. Here you got to go to endocrinologists like 3 or 4 times. Like you'll go once if it's low. But then they'll say, okay, wait 8 weeks, come back, do it again. Like they're almost trying to see if your level goes up. And I've had friends that had clinics in America, and it's like I said, they're so quick to put you on Prozac and all these other mind-altering shit, which most people I know that are on them feel more suicidal and fucking crazy. And some of my friends that own these clinics have said to me, he goes, I can probably guarantee anywhere from 80 to 90% when we do these guys' bloods, their test is so minimal. We get them off all that fucking prescription shit, put them on test, and they're like brand new. They're happy. They got this energy again. And that's why I hate, because women go through menopause and there's all these things for women, estrogen. They can go to the doctor and get all these drugs. Men experience the same thing when our testosterone goes down. And they always wonder why men get to a certain age, that like midlife crisis, they call it. And you'll see a guy that was happily married now. He's out with this young, hot, blonde chick cheating because he's looking for that high, or he goes out and blows money on this fancy sports car because he's looking for something to make him feel happy and good and shit. But yet you don't really get it in the end because it's just short term. Whereas if they put them on testosterone, they're like young kids again. They feel good. They're happy. Their mind's working good without all this other mind-altering shit that the doctors will try to get you on straight away.
Yep. Yeah, we buy things like cars and motorcycles and drive them really fast.
I just don't understand how women can get it, because they always talk about menopause for women, the women's hormones, when they know dropping in men's testosterone is one of the main things that leads to depression for men and all these other things.
Well, they're treating menopausal women now with testosterone and getting great results.
I'm going to become trans, say I got menopause, and get tested.
Yeah, that'll be. She'll start. There's so many benefits to you becoming a woman, Lee. I mean, really, we've talked at length about.
I watched because we did a show last week. I was going to talk about that story where it was I can't remember what place it was, but they're filing a lawsuit against the transgender for the women competing because a lot of these girls in the schools now and colleges are coming out. They're demoralized, and that because now. A lot of these things in colleges now, every time there's been it's been won by trans guys that now women, and they're taking scholarships away from the real women and all this sort of shit now.
That's right. That's right.
And they're like, we would have normally been winning this and getting the scholarship and going here and that, but now we can't because the transgenders are winning all the women's events at the schools and shit. We can't do anything. So I don't know. I haven't followed up on it, but I know there were they can't even qualify for half these things because the men are women or the transgender ones. So it's like, they're going to file a lawsuit because this just is, well, it's not fair to women if a guy's naturally stronger and bigger and shit. And it's like, you can't do that. It's like all these women that have worked hard to become good in sports. Imagine you were at a young age, you're a track star or athlete, a track star. So from the age of 5, you're being put through, your family suffered to put you through the best colleges to get you into, like someone like Flojo, and you finally get there and you're like this, breaking all the world records. But then someone like Usain Bolt comes along at some point and goes, I think I want to be a woman. And then he comes over to the thing. Every record that you've had and been proud of in the record books is going to get beat by someone who's technically not a true woman. I think that should ever happen when it comes to women's records and shit like that, because that's wrong.
It's absolutely wrong. It's and wrong on a lot of levels. But I was on a podcast, I won't say the name of it, where I was interviewed with my respect to my opinion on women, this very thing, women, transgender women competing in women's sports. And my position is, from the athlete's perspective, if you suck so bad as a man in sport that you have to put on a dress and compete as a woman to get anywhere, I think it's a pretty sad indictment of your athletic prowess, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, I was, as sane as that sounds, I was sort of chastised in their their commentary after without me. After
were you like the Dave Chappelle in that podcast?
Well, apparently I'm not. Apparently, and this is not just from them, I have been accused of not being a very tolerant individual. I don't, I'm not.
I think you're tolerant.
I'm just not. I mean, you're not going
to just say that, though. Saying that doesn't mean you're anti-trans or you're transphobic.
Well, no, it's because I understand what you're saying. What their position was, I have no empathy for these people. These people are, trapped in the wrong body, and they have, this is a logical, social, and personal issue that they're battling with. And who am I to chastise them for doing the thing that they love the most, competing in sports?
Well, I got breaking news, John. I wanted to be an NBA player. I wanted to be black, 6'5", and play NBA. So I can't, though, but I'm going to go over there and try, and they're going to let me on the team because I'm going to identify as a black 6'5" guy. It's like, you know what? Too bad. Life sucks sometimes.
But the difference is you're not going to win anything. Okay, these guys are coming in posing as women, and they're taking the women's trophies away. They're taking the women, So it never works the other way. It's not the men. It's not the women going into the men's sports and stealing their trophies. So it's always the other way around. Because why? Because men are stronger, faster than women.
I should have sent you that. I should have sent you this other video. I'll see if I can find it. Officer Tatum shows it's like the Marines or something, or an army base. And this woman on the base there, she's pretty stocky, pretty big woman. Thinks she's the baddest ass one there, so she wants to fight a guy there. Oh, it doesn't end well for her. But she thinks she can take on any guy and beat him. This guy just gets up and they get the gloves on. Next thing, boom, 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 down she goes. She gets back up. He knocks her down that many times. And you can tell he's not going full hog on her, but yet she thought she could take on any man. Oh, that's terrible. Then there was another one where they had these helmet, like the hats on, and they had like those, like the gladiators on
pugil
had those like stick things.
Pugil sticks.
Yeah, they go running. This guy just goes boom. This woman goes flying, and when she's on the ground, he starts belting. The other guys had to come in and separate him because it's like it's just. I just don't understand. Okay, if it's suddenly becoming this common, just start a trans division.
Right.
Have trans sports. Have that way you're still competing with people who were men, but now you're a woman, so you identify as a woman, and you're still roughly on that same strength hormonal balance area.
Never happen. It'll never happen because there's this many of them. That's why. And they make so much freaking noise. That's the problem. But there would never be enough of them for an audience.
And this is what I don't get, because you want to be a woman, but yet you know what you're doing is not really right, because you got the strength and that of a man. But now we've got these people complaining what they're changing it all now, saying that men can have periods, men can bleed, bleeding people, and birthing parents, because now they're saying men can have babies. I'm sorry, look, if I'm a man, I can't, they'll probably get mad at me, but I'm thinking, yeah, how would you know, Lee? You're not one of us. Well, let's just say I'm a man now, but I feel like a woman. No, I'm a woman. Which am I? I'm a woman. I want to be a man. That's it, because that's right. Okay, so I'm a woman, but I feel like I'm a man trapped in my woman's body, because it's the only way men could have babies, isn't it? So let's just say I was born a girl, but I feel like a man. I want to be a man, so I take the hormones so I can start building muscle. To me, if I felt so much like a man, having a period or having a baby would be like, ugh. I can't do that because I'm a man. If I feel like a man that bad, so if I want to do this transitioning, like, if a male goes to a female and they get the operation and cut it off, if I was a female going to a man, the first thing I would do would be, when I get my breast implant, going to a man, have my breasts removed, but also get a hysterectomy. It's like I'd have all those bits taken out, so I can't have a period, so I don't have a womb to have babies and shit. So if that's how you feel so much, you can't say you're a woman going to a man, but yet, even though I feel like a man so much, I still want to have a baby. It's like, men don't have babies. You can't be feeling too much like a man if you want to. You must have these maternal instincts of a woman still if you want to carry a baby for 9 months, because men don't do that. Well, have you ever thought at any point, men can be maternal with kids and that, or if your wife's having a baby, you can be maternal. But yet, John, have you ever thought to yourself, gee, I wished I could carry that baby and have it inside of me, and I'd like to give. Exactly, because men don't think that. So if you're saying that you're a woman but you feel like a man, you got to get all that shit cut out, because you can't have kids and you don't have periods. It's like,
but what's going to, what the argument for that is that, well, people of means have that done all the time because they can go to the doctor and pay for it. It's the disenfranchised and the underprivileged that don't have the money to have elective hysterectomies and breast removals and whatnot. So they're looking to the government to pay for that shit because they're batshit crazy. So,
they can stay on the pill, go on the pill, or get that birth control implant so they can never get pregnant or something.
Or you know what? The bottom line though, and this, because we're running out of time, and I'm going to end my piece with this, and then you can have the last word. It's none of anybody's business. Okay, it's your problem. If you're a man trapped in a woman's body, or a woman trapped in a man's body, or you're fluid or pansexual or whatever you are, that's your deal. That's you. That's your deal. It's on you. Whatever you got to do that, it's on you. Don't come looking for the government. Don't come looking for public support. Don't come waving flags and shit and stuffing it down our throat. It's your fucking deal. You go do it. And don't tell anybody. And then if it's really your deal, nobody's got to know. Nobody's got to know. Social media doesn't have to know. We don't have to know. The news doesn't have to know. Nobody's got to know. Just go do your thing.
And I agree with that too. The only thing I hate about it is now, like I said, where they're trying to change it everywhere, and they're changing the wording, like we said, chest milk instead of breast milk, so we don't offend the transgender ones. Or now it's birthing parent. It's not the mother, it's a birthing parent. It's like, no, only women can still have it. So it's just how I hate how they're changing it now for the younger generation, where they're going to be so confused, like, well, shit, if you threw that at me now, I'd be like, well, wait a minute, I always knew only women can have periods, but now it's like, no, anyone can have period, men and women. It's like, people bleeding.
Did you hear AOC? Did you hear AOC? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm interrupting you.
Bleeding people.
No, she said she won't use the word woman.
That's right.
Woman is not inclusive. She says menstruating person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what she said. Menstruating person.
Woman. The word woman is not inclusive.
So now they've been cut out of. They've been cut out of that. They've been cut out of sports. They've been cut out. Way to go! It's like,
I'm sick. Yeah. It makes me nauseous talking about these things. It really does.
Well, it was good chatting again. I think I'm going to go menstruate now. So
I'm gonna go take some Motrin and deal with my cramps right now after I eat some ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, I only get cramps if I eat ice cream if I don't take my lactate tablets.
Me too.
No. But sometimes I will suffer. I have been out at a milkshake bar and I want a milkshake that bad, even though I'm lactose intolerant. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to have it.
And then you'll deal with the consequences later.
Oh, you're laying there, your guts bloated, the pain. You're like, oh. But it was nice. It was nice drinking it at the time.
Yeah, it's a great idea at the time, but you don't think about later.
Oh, fucking terrible.
All right, Lee. You have a great day, great afternoon. Be productive.
Yes. Oh, it's 4. I'm an hour ahead now due to daylight savings. It's 4:25. So.
Oh, it's almost nighttime now.
Oh yeah, and Jimmy, I've been talking to Jimmy every day and sending him those videos and making.
Yeah, he loves them.
I just spoke to him. It was actually pretty sad today. He said one of his best friends. Yeah, he tell you, did he?
Yeah, he's died on his motorcycle last night.
Yeah, that was pretty shit, wasn't it? Somebody kid just wasn't paying attention and wiped him out.
Probably texting. 20-year-old kid wiped him out.
That's what I said. 20 years old, not paying attention. I said, that's why when I was younger, I used to ride a motorbike. I said, I won't do it now. It's just people just don't look. They don't,
You know, I was riding today, and I find myself, I find my shoulders going up like this when I ride now because I'm so tense from worrying about it. I have to consciously like pull my shoulders down so the bike will behave.
Yeah. Towards the end, the only time I would ride would be a Saturday or Sunday here early in the morning because everyone sleeps in. So the road would be nice and quiet. Come 10 lunchtime when it started picking up, early in the morning was the best time to get out and go. But now, like you said, and even on a motorbike, you see, because sometimes when you go down between the cars, you're like this. People have their phones down low. You can see they're texting and shit. You just look in the window, and here they are, phone on the lap. It's just
terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. But I'm not stopping.
Okay. Well, have a good evening.
Later.
Okay. Bye.